What's up, y'all? What's going on, family? Welcome back to the Emperor Atheist channel with your host, Emperor Atheist. I was just going over a few notes here, right? Just finishing up a few things. And I had said that I was probably going to leave these delusional black Hebrews alone, but I can't. Because people are still sending me these bogus-ass videos they making and the bullshit they spewing. I mean, they're in the same boat with delusional Christians and Jews and Muslims, but there's just something special about these religious hearts. First of all, they deny Africa. They deny their ancestry to the point of actually claiming European Caucasian religion, like Judaism. And of course, a lot of people say, oh, that's debatable. We got so much evidence that the original Jews were black, and of course no evidence ever comes about. They always bring up bullshit about certain little tribes from Africa, Falashas or Limba, people who basically, when you actually get down to the point of the historicity of it, these people actually converted through white Jews, and that basically be the bottom fucking line. That's it. I mean, that's it. It goes no further than that. But you have these people who want Moses to be black, Jesus to be black, and this guy there, the Yahweh, it talks to all black prophets and all of this bullshit. So basically, some of you say King James is black, but anyway, I wouldn't even waste a video to even discuss bullshit like that. But the point I'm making is, I try to engage these brothers, on an academic level, because I say about 95% of their rants are pure emotion. No real biblical scholarly work, no real academic, no real historicity. They basically the ones I've met over the years, over the last 25, 30 years. They have no real knowledge of textual criticism. They don't understand New Testament criticism or Old Testament criticism. They don't understand how scholars, and this is another thing, even when because a lot of Hebrews, they run from me when I start mentioning things like this, and I start actually going into the Hebrews, a language that they should know and have mastered by now, and it's just funny how when I mention these things to these particular people, get back to the emotional rant, like I said, they say, oh, that's the white man shit, theology is the white man shit. So that's like a curveball they throw at you. So that way, they can basically get out of any real academic debate when it comes to this Bible, a book that they claim, like I said, that they claim was written by black Jews. I don't know if they think these Jews was in the diaspora of Africa or where they ran to. A lot of them believe that during Titus Van Pescher's rule in CE 70. They say when Israel was rent and Van Pescher came down on the Jews in Israel, they say that this is when most of the original Hebrews were ran into the diaspora of Africa. Okay, but of course we have no history of this. None of them can ever bring any history of this. I've asked for years to at least give me some type of a slave record or slave writings of even the slaves coming from West Africa to the shores of North America, saying that they were Hebrew or that they followed these rites, and they never can produce that. History hasn't produced it and probably never will. So just trying to find a link, some type of historical link to actually hold on to is hard. You had a lot of books that was been written by black Hebrew lovers, maybe in the past 30, 40 years, black Hebrewism. Even Dr. Ben Yochanan wrote a book years ago, We the Black Hebrews. But we know Dr. Ben was an atheist, so he didn't really care nothing about that shit. And people grow as the years go by anyway. But there's been a lot of books. And a lot of these books by black authors that talked about the black Hebrew connection, basically a lot of this shit, man, when checked academically and with references, and when it's actually would be checked, it would come up to be empty. So, I would just ask people who have actually read these books and refer to a lot of these books. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put a lot of links to these fake ass books that talk about the black Hebrews and all this shit. All you, some of you, I'm sure some of them gonna be some of y'all favorite authors. Y'all probably be mad, but I don't care about you getting mad, because if you can't respect the academic work and you can't actually go show and prove it, then you getting mad don't mean shit. That mean that I won. So if you can't come back and show me, well, this reference proves what this person said right here, to show us a link to the Black Hebrews, then we're gonna kill it. Because as I spoke before in part 1 and 2 of my first videos, the Black Hebrews are delusional, I brought up DNA. Well, I brought up a whole bunch of things. I brought up, for those who've seen these videos, I brought up scripture. I brought up contradictions. I brought up textual errancy of things that Black Hebrews never answer. They never answer me on these things. And it's just kind of strange to me how these people can claim to be the people of this mythical book, but yet they're still over here in the shores of America, on the corners of the street, screaming loud, not trying to go take their land. I mean, I've been asking y'all what y'all think. This Yahweh in the sky, this God that y'all believe, and this is what I'm about to get into, because I don't think a lot of you actually know what you worship. So we're going to get off into a little more of the history of the Hebrew text, if that's okay with you Black Hebrews. If we can get into some Hebrew, if that's all right with y'all, you know, we're going to get into the history of this God or gods that y'all worship, because I don't think a lot of you actually know exactly what you worship. I think you're confused to the point, and I think you're basically you're ignorant to it, and you're just not up to par on what you think you are. You've came into something on an emotional level, and you think that some God in the sky is going to come save us or save you. I don't want no part of it. And you think he's going to, I guess, kill the white man, the ones you call Edomites, and going to give you, I don't know the fuck, I really don't know what y'all think, man. And I've been dialoguing with y'all for years, and I still haven't come to a solid conclusion as to what y'all really fucking think is going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I guess y'all think y'all were going to come and kill all the white Jews and give all their money that they've been making and turn everything over to y'all, because these people own corporations. They own everything, man. Banks. Y'all motherfuckers don't own shit. So it's like, who the fuck is this guy, Daddy Yahweh, blessing? Is he blessing them or you? Or I guess y'all say, well, you know, it's just that's how Yahweh wanted to be. Yeah, that's obviously how Yahweh want it to be. He want y'all motherfuckers to be on the corner selling fucking incense, while these fucking Edomites, the ones y'all call Edomites, out here selling motherfucking $1 million bonds. Y'all motherfuckers twisted, man. I don't know what the fuck to say, man. But hey, I'm just gonna get off into to what I want to get off into in this video, man. Basically, and I try to bring this up, and I've been asking any of you brothers want to debate me live, man. I'd be glad to. If you want to debate me online, just make sure it's organized debate, because you know y'all like to holler and shit and scream out verses and God said blah blah blah, all that dumbass shit. But shit is worthless. But listen, if any of y'all really want to debate and have a real organized, sensible debate about this bullshit book y'all believe in, you know, I would love to do it. I would love to do it. And the thing is this, man. You know what's funny about you Black Hebrews is that, and you know, I can't stress this enough. When we talk about the Hebrew in itself, and I ask you brothers, you say you're the original Hebrews, right? And Van Peshen, which most of you believe this, most of the so-called learners I've talked to agree to this, says that when Van Peshen came to Israel, to Jerusalem, in the year 70 CE, some of y'all say AD because y'all don't know no better, but 70 CE, which is common era, y'all agree and y'all say that the original Black Hebrews were ran out of Jerusalem into the diaspora. Okay, now this is so, even though we have no historical records of this, but just for the sake of argument, we're gonna say that happened. Okay, well, if this is the case, then what I want to know is, obviously, when these Black Hebrews was ran into the diaspora of Africa, then it is obvious, and it has to be obvious, and it should be a historical fact that these Black Hebrews took the knowledge of the language with them, right? So, with that being said, if these Black Hebrews was ran out of Jerusalem by this Roman ruler, Titus Van Peshen, then that means that surely there was some priests among this group that ran, because we don't know. We were just going to say it was a countless number of black Hebrews that ran into the diaspora of Africa, all into maybe Southern Africa, Central Africa, all down in Northeastern Africa. Okay, we just saying that this obviously where they went. Okay, and eventually some kind of way made their way over to West Africa. Okay, but just speaking on that alone, there has to be some type of record that you brothers have that can show. And I'm not even just talking about what happened in 70 CE. I'm talking about Hebrew records. How do you black Hebrews? And I've asked this question before. No one answered my question. Only thing I get on my comments on these videos is a lot of hate from black Hebrews. Oh, you brainwashed, you atheist. I get dumb shit. I get a lot of ad hominem attacks, but I never get my questions answered. And I never, ever. I mean, all of the questions I've asked you about your textual mistakes in the Bible, textual mistakes that can't even be reconciled, I never get any direct answers from you. I never get a direct debate. The only thing I get is so-called Hebrews, black Hebrews, talking dumb shit in the comments. And I basically, and other people, we laugh at you because you sound so fucking ignorant. But I'm asking the learned ones among you to please come and dialogue this, because as it is so far in 2017, as far as the Hebrew language, and as far as what history has showed over the last 1,000 years, going all the way back to Rabbi Yashkana, who was a European, we know this for a fact, and even those of the Kabbalah, Ben Shov, and all of these European Jews, we know that they, and even going back to the Masorati text, these were European Jews who, according to history, have actually kept the Hebrew language intact as far as grammar rules. And when the grammar rules came to be a part of the Hebrew, because we know that the Hebrew text, the original block script, didn't come with these grammarian dots or the different vowel systems, just like the Arabic. Okay, so we understand this. But what we don't understand is, how did the European, the one you call Edomites, how did they become the gatekeepers of this important language? And we have no record of a black Hebrew grammarian text rule. So this is my question to you. Where are the Hebrew grammar rules from original black Hebrews? Obviously, it got to be different from what we see standardized in Jerusalem today. Obviously, matter of fact, a school that I even took up online to learn my Hebrew. Now, this is the thing, and a lot of you unlearned ones, before you even open your mouth and I have to cut your head off, don't come with that Yiddish bullshit, because there's a big, major linguistic, etymological difference between Yiddish and modern Hebrew, okay? So let's kill that. And as far as Paleo Hebrew goes, which is a more ancient block text, Paleo is not being spoken today, okay? Just a small group of Hebrews, Jews speak it, and they're not black, okay? So let's get that point straight. A very, very, very small minority group of Hebrews today who are not black at all speak Paleo. But I see a lot of you brothers over here in the U.S. who've probably never been to Israel, never been anywhere out of the United States. Probably never left your own block. I see y'all rock the shirts and certain clothing with Paleo Hebrew scripts on it, or Hebrew letters, but none of you actually understand it. So it's kind of contradictory to me for you brothers to walk around and to express this Paleo as if this became from the original black Hebrews. But yet, when I ask you about the safekeeping of the Hebrew language and its grammar rules, none of you can bring this to me. The only grammar rules that you can bring up is those that the white Jews have, which is a standardized Hebrew rule worldwide, which is in Hebrew University in Jerusalem. So I hope I'm making myself clear on this particular subject, because I'm getting tired of talking about you guys, you talking about you black Hebrews, but yet you have no standardized rules for the language that you can say that your ancestors, the original black Hebrews, kept and safeguarded, that we can say, where we can differentiate, or we can divide and split up from the white Jews, to which they have universities. Not only do they have universities in Israel for their people. They have schools, they have hospitals, they have a military that would kill you, aided by the U.S. government, of course, this ridiculous country. But hey, it is where we were born. This is where we were born. And for the most part, this is where most of us probably would die. A lot of you talking about you're going to leave America, you haven't left yet. I still see you on the same street corners doing the same bullshit, selling incense and selling the little stinky ass colognes and shit you're selling. So this is the thing. Please, if you can, then I'm going to get into the second part of this video. Bring some evidence, some historical evidence, for black Hebrews, original black Hebrews, who were obviously pushed out of Jerusalem, according to you, by Titus Van Passion in the year CE 70 or AD 70, as some of you say. Show me where they preserved black Hebrews, not the white Jews, because we have a direct, a pure historical case for the white Jews that have preserved the Hebrew language. It can't even be debated that the white Jews definitely have a history of preserving their language, the Hebrew language, the same Hebrew language that we see in these books, in this Bible. But now, the problem is, we don't see a historical preservation from any black Hebrews. None. That's not one black Hebrew scholar that I can go to, that I can say in the 1700s or the 1800s or the 15 or 1600s. Nowhere I can say this black Hebrew scholar preserved the grammar, or this is his writings on the grammar system of Hebrew for the black Jews. Nowhere. Only thing you people can refer me to is some philosophers of Ethiopia who had nothing, who had to be eventually saved, rescued because they had nothing, who had to get rescued by white people, white Jews, and helicopters were sent over there in the mid-80s to pick these people up and take them to Israel, and then they treat them like shit when they got them over there. But these are the people that y'all bragging about, who Yahweh chose. Y'all got to be out y'all goddamn mind. Then you talk about this Limba tribe who, no trace of Hebrew, or biblical Hebrew. If the original black Hebrews wrote the Bible, the scripts that we found, okay, in the so-called Old Testament, which is properly called the Torah or the Tanakh, right? The Tanakh is, just for those of you, I know a lot of you black Hebrews don't know this, but the Tanakh is an acronym. Tanakh, Tanakh. It's just it's one word which means three different things. The Ta, which is basically an acronym for Torah or law. The Na, which is an acronym for the Nebaim, which means the prophets, because this is the Hebrew word for prophet, a Nebaim, okay, or Neba. And then you have the Ka, which is just the acronym for the Ketavim, or the Ketabim, which means the writings. The writings such as, the Song of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, all these things are the writings. And you have the prophets, four major, Daniel, Ezekiel, Isaiah, and so forth, and you have the 12 minor prophets. This is how it's broken up. But the thing about this is, why do we not have one historical link of any black Hebrews who have preserved the language or who have preserved the writings? Why can't we see from these so-called tribes in Africa any original Hebrew language from the Bible? Because if y'all say y'all the original Hebrew, right? But yet you say you was sent off into the diaspora of Africa. But yet nowhere in Africa have we ever found any Hebrew script, not even biblical Hebrew script, just Hebrew period, amongst any African tribes. The Limba, the Falasha, spoke their own Ethiopic Cushite languages. I think the Falashas, most of the Falashas being from the part of Ethiopia they were from, if I'm not mistaken, those that were not Coptic, or that actually wrote Coptic, then they wrote a language from Ethiopia, which is come from an ancient Cushitic language, or Neolithic language as we call it. It was called Ge'ez. Okay, but this has nothing to do with Hebrew or biblical Hebrew. These are different languages, different linguistics. And the thing about it, none of you can show and prove these things. So this is why I keep making videos about you black Hebrews, because you're delusional. You're trying to claim something that's not yours. Then you actually disrespect your own ancestors, your own African ancestors, as if they was nothing. Bullshit. In other words, their culture is bullshit. And like I always say, I'm not one to I'm a Pan-Africanist before I'm an atheist. And the thing about it, I'm not into a lot of things as Egyptologists, a lot of brothers do, or what we probably call now chematology. I'm not, so gung ho on that either, because I love all of Africa. So I'm not a bandwagon scholar to try to jump on a certain thing because it's been hot the last 15 or 20 years. That ain't me. I love all of Africa and all of its history and all of its language. There's some beautiful languages in Africa to study besides Medjugorje. Believe that. It is. A lot of them. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to start doing some videos on that. And some of those teachers, people who are just not even spoken about in the so-called Black conscious community because they're not talking about Medjugorje or not talking about Haru or Aset. It's more to Africa than that. So the thing is, though, back to you Black Hebrews, because I can't let y'all get off the line on this. The God that you claim you serve, because, and like I said, this is a two-part video. So I want y'all to first answer my question I said about the Black Hebrew language, the preservation of it. Show me the history where some Black Hebrews preserved it. Where did the grammar rules come from? Did it come from you, or are you telling me that the Edomites also came up with the grammar rules? Because everybody know that a language has to have grammar rules. So if the Black Hebrews didn't originate the grammar rules, then the Edomites did, then whose language really is it? Because if you tell me, well, no, these are our grammar rules, then you got to show me that, where Black Hebrews preserved it. And if you say, well, no, these are the Caucasian grammar rules, then you're dead, because that means that these people took your language and you have no history to show that it was actually yours. So that would be a moot point of you even trying to even call them crackers, call them devils, because obviously your Yahweh allowed them to do all this. So, I mean, goddamn, just take one to the head for the team. But anyway, in retrospect, we're looking at the so-called Old Testament. And the reason I say so-called Old Testament, because me being a student of theology myself, I have a bachelor's degree in theology, sacred theology. I understand that Old Testament, New Testament are really words that just used for religious people, not necessarily people who actually study these scripts. It's just something to separate, the canonized the canonized 39 books of the Tanakh and the canonized 27 books of what they call the New Testament. But because of course these books were not together, and there's no such thing as a Bible. It's just something that they made up. Come from the term biblios, which just mean many books. Pagan origins, don't really mean nothing. Nothing holy about the word biblios. Not a goddamn thing. It's just something that these people made up and patched up with pretty leather covers and shit like that. Then years later they came with this red letter edition for this false character called Yahshua or Jesus. But anyway, just dealing with the Old Testament today. There's a city called Rosh Hashanah, okay? Which is actually the modern term for an ancient city called Ugarit. And there was some text found in this particular city. They were called the Rosh Hashanah text. All right, for those who don't know, just look it up. As a matter of fact, I'll just probably spell it across the screen. The city's Rosh Hashanah, excuse me. And these texts were found in the Canaanite deity, and the Canaanite pantheon was exposed and was finally opened up to the world, and we actually seen who El was. And I'm going to deal with this god El, E-L. Now this is the funny thing about this, because all through the Old Testament, or the Tanakh, you see this term El, but it was first found in Rosh Hashanah, in the Canaanite deity. The Canaanite El, which you all see even in the term Israel, or you see in certain prophets' name, Daniel, something of El, server of Yeel, or power to El. You see Ezekiel, the sup with El, things like this. El was a sky deity. He was the main deity in the Canaanite pantheon. First of all, let's get that straight. He was the main deity in the Canaanite pantheon. He had a wife called Asherah. He had a daughter named Anat, who was the goddess of love and war, and he had a son named Baal, which was very popular. And Baal was all through the Tanakh and stories of Tanakh himself. The thing about this, and by the way, Baal was a storm god. thing about this is, why would an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing deity take a so-called, what they call a pagan or false god name and attach it to his own? Now, this is the thing. Before I get off into the contradictions of the certain sources and what these sources are, I want to explain something here. When you look at in Genesis and Old Testament, you see El everywhere. You see terms. I mean, you see the God names, and I got a whole bunch of them right here. I mean, it's 2 minutes to try to remember. I used to know a lot of them by heart. Malachi 2:10, you see El Akkad, which means the one. The word Ikkad is one in Hebrew. Just like for those who are probably not familiar with the Shema in Hebrewism, it says Shema Yisrael Yahuwah Elohim Yahuwah Ikkad. I mean, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. It's the same thing with Islam, or what they call the Shahada. You see because these are sister languages, the Syriac, Arabic, and Hebrew. Same thing you see with La ilaha illallah. You know what I mean? There's no God but Allah, which is all contradictory ass statements. There is no God but Allah. So I mean, you're already declaring that there might be something. But anyway, I'll get off into that later too in another bullshit Quranic series video. But El Akkad, the one. Then you have El Elyon, the Most High. Okay, you see that in Psalms 82. You got El Olam, the everlasting. You have El Gibbar, the mighty. El Hashamayim, the mighty one of heaven. And it goes on and on and on. Where you see this Canaanite El attached to what is called the qualifiers, or the qualifier of this Elohim or Yahweh. Now I'm going to get off into these different sources. First and foremost, when speaking about these particular sources and this El character, the first thing has to be known. When you go to, and I want to make this point real fast. When you go to Exodus 6:2-4, right? And you see in Exodus 2:4, Exodus 6:2-4, this is the conversation where this sky god is talking to Moses, and he asked him about his name, talking about his name. And he told Moses that to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I was not known by this name, Yahweh. Okay, this is what he says in Exodus. But this is contradictory to Genesis 2:4, to Genesis 15:2, Genesis 18, Genesis 27:20, Genesis 22:20. And the thing about it, I'm gonna tell you what's going on here for those of you who don't understand textual differences and textual misconstrues or mishaps. And Black Hebrews, please chime in and answer these questions for me. In the Tanakh, you have 4 different sources that scholars broke up, okay? You have what you call the J source, or Yahweh source. J just standing for Jehovah, whatever. The E source, which is the Elohist source, or Elohim. Then you have the D source, which is the Deuteronomic source, and the P source, which is the priestly source. All 4 of these sources, and the reason they're split up because they tell different stories from different type ways of thinking. And the scholars understood this because the writing styles were totally different. So a J source, or Yahweh source, was known not to be the same source of the Elohist source. So they know these was 2 different writers. So in other words, scholars been knew that there's nowhere in hell one man named Moses couldn't have wrote the first 5 books of the so-called Tanakh, or what they call the Pentateuch. So we know that's bullshit off the rip. So when you look at these sources, when you look at the J source, when you look at the E source, Exodus says, whoever wrote Exodus says that this God told Moses that he didn't tell Abraham about his name Yahweh. But yet when you go to Genesis, which is the Yahweh source, when you go to Genesis 2:4, 15:2, 18:14, 22:14, 15:7-8, Genesis 27:20, Genesis 27:27, and I'm gonna put all these verses in the link. So you know, if I'm talking too fast, understand. I'm gonna put all these verses in the link. But when you go to all of these verses, Abraham, Jacob, Isaac, all of these people knew him by Yahweh. So the contradiction of Exodus 6:2-4 and Genesis 2:4 and the rest of the verses in Genesis I told you about can't be reconciled in any way, because either God told Moses a lie Well, he had to tell Moses a lie because he obviously, all through Genesis, Abraham and them recognized him as Yahweh. They used the term Yahweh. They used the term Yahweh, okay? Which certain Hebrew scholars and Hebrew scripts, they would change this name because they thought it was this sacred name. So they would replace it with Hashim, which means the name, or Adonai, right? They would change it. But the script don't lie. The Hebrew scripts that we found, the little pieces that we found, that we have, that we can go on, all of these scripts, what we call the Yahweh source or the J source, contradicts the Elohim source or the Elohim source. Now, you black Hebrews need to straighten this up, because this is just more and more bullshit packed on your book, and you never answer these questions. Only thing you do, you go into rants and you talk shit. You talk shit, you ad hominem. You change the fucking subjects, but you never answer the questions that we're asking you. Why are these texts contradicting each other? Why are they lying? Exodus 6, 2 through 4. Yahweh tells Moses that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did not know me by the name Yahweh. But then when we go to Genesis 2, 4, 15, 2, 18, 14, 22, 14, 15, 7 through 8, 27, 10, 27, and 27, that's all they called them was Yahweh. Your book is bullshit, written by multiple authors who lied. Now, please, Interview Hebrews, hurry back and get back with me on these sources. Y'all didn't get back with me on this is my third video, third installation on this bullshit about the delusional black Hebrews. None of y'all got back with me except through shit talking. Goddamn. Somebody get back with me academically so we can do this, okay? And explain this shit. Okay? Can y'all do that for me, man? God, I didn't really want to make this video that long, man. But once again, man, thanks for watching my videos, liking my videos. I am the Emperor Atheist, and I am going to keep crushing religious bullying, religious bullshit. Will the religion go somewhere? Probably not. Probably never go nowhere. Atheists probably will remain a minority in this world, and that's cool because there's not too many intellectual people around the world. Intelligence is a small thing. It's a small thing. There's not a lot of people who can think for themselves. But hey, just be glad you're on that boat, man. Glad you're on the small boat instead of the big boat all the goddamn fools that finna run into the fucking iceberg. So, once again, man, I'm Atheist. I'm out. Peace.